Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the episode 6 of Off the Reins podcast. We've got a lot to get started with you guys tonight, so before we get started, I want to go ahead and make sure you guys are following all of our social channels. Make sure you hit that notification button because there's a lot of rumors going around about scrimmages and about jersey releases, different things. I want to make sure that you guys have the latest in the official stuff straight from the Stallions organization and the UFL. But before we get started, I want to tell you guys about our latest sponsor, which is Blue Spring Living Water, which is harvested from a pristine natural water source that is naturally enriched with magnesium, calcium, silica, and other trace minerals, and it's located right here in central Alabama. It is one of the cleanest and healthiest natural water resources in the U.S., so don't bother going to the store because they'll deliver it right to your door across the state or across the country. They have one-time and subscription services available. So check out the link in the description on our website and head toward a cleaner life with Blue Spring Living Water. And with that, they're bringing us the Birmingham Sports Brief. Starting off in the NBA G League, the Birmingham Squadron split a pair with the fourth place Capital City Go-Go. The Capital City took a win from us, 138 to 107 on Friday, while the Squadron, took home a win with 125 to 114 on Sunday. Your Squadron are now 10th place in the Eastern Conference of the NBA G League, and they're about to have a 3-game homestand, with starting off on Friday with a game against the Greenboro Swarm. On Sunday and Tuesday, they are going to debut a brand new jersey that will benefit the Children's of Alabama. And it will be a hero-themed jersey. So it's nice to see the Squadron. They've always been one to help out the community. So moving on to the Birmingham Bulls of the Southern Professional Hockey League. They are still leading in the Southern Professional Hockey League. And however, they did lose a pair to the second place Peoria Rivermen by a score of 2-1 on Friday and 5-1 on Saturday. There's only 10 games left before the President's Cup playoffs start, and we're only 2 points ahead of the Peoria Rivermen. We really need to finish off this season strong to secure home ice during the playoffs. Shifting over to the USL, the Birmingham Legion won their final preseason matchup this past weekend versus the Chattanooga SC. This will be the final matchup before the regular season kicks off on Saturday. Last week when we reviewed everything about the offseason, about the Birmingham Barons, we forgot to mention we have new owners. Diamond Baseball Holdings purchased the organization last fall, and it's exciting to see what these new owners have in store for the team this year. Also with the Birmingham Barons, Opening day will be April 5th versus the Chattanooga Lookouts at Region Field. On to the AMA Supercross, sponsored by Monster Energy. The riders had a messy track to deal with on Saturday as the riders headed to Daytona. With it only being a couple weeks since the Daytona 500, they didn't have much time to assemble the track, and rain didn't help matters that much. However, in the 250 class, Tom Viala wound up winning the main event, while Max Anstey is still leading in the points. However, there's less than 10 points separating the top 7 in the 250 class. On to the 450 class. Jet Lawrence won the main this past week. He is starting to pull away from the pack as he leads the 450 class as the riders head to Birmingham this weekend. So make sure you sign up and get your tickets for the event this weekend at Protective Stadium. And that will end our Birmingham Sports Brief. Before we get any further, I want to make sure we give a shout out to our affiliates. We have Royal Retros. They have been supporting a bunch of our for our teams. The Birmingham Barons, you get the throwback Birmingham Black Barons jerseys, stuff like that, all kinds of throwback gear like that. And who doesn't love the old school Birmingham Bulls jerseys? You can also get some of the older leagues, such as the Birmingham Americans, Birmingham Fire, or maybe even the Birmingham Barracudas from the CFL. You can check out the link in the description or put in code STAMPEDE at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. On to the GLD shop. You have an anniversary or birthday coming up? You know Mother's Day is right around the corner. Make sure you guys check out the GLD shop. You can get real gold jewelry at a decent price. You can even get 2 chains and 2 pendants for less than $200. You can't beat that. So get somebody a gift and get yourself a little something as well. So check out the link in the description for the GLD shop. Now, on to the Birmingham Stallions. The camp roster was actually released by the time that we had released our last episode. Because we record on Sunday and then it was released on Monday. But the roster's looking really strong because starting off in the QB room, you know, Jamar Smith, he doesn't need an introduction, but he's been with Coach Holtz since his days at La Tech. He helped in a strong ability in helping us win the first championship, and he's got a cannon of an arm. So it's really good to see him, you know, still staying strong, and I think his leadership skills and ability to wrap a team around him is really good to see. However, last season, you know, he left out early in the first game, so with a hand injury, so it was unfortunate to see that. However, Coach Holtz says he's actually doing pretty well in his recovery. On to Matt Corral. We all know he was a big part of the Ole Miss Rebels back in the day. So we all know he's got a great arm. He's a good breakout runner, but he's had some issues in the past that kind of bring some things to question. what's his commitment level, So that's a little bit of a question mark that everybody's got going into uh, camp with Matt Corral, but hopefully we'll see something good come out of this. Hopefully he's learned his lessons in the past, and we can see what he's got. Adrian Martinez. We know he's a great decision maker. He's got great legs and can really extend plays when virtually nothing is available. So it really seems like we've got a strong top three, but everybody's sleeping on Jalen Morton. People forget that he actually helped us out of a hole last year. Uh, Jamar was out, so he was the backup. So he actually stepped in and made really good plays when we really needed him. So we've got a really good quarterback room. So it's going to be, I think, Coach Holtz has his work cut out for him and trying to figure out who's going to be where and at what capacity coming out of camp this season for those quarterbacks. On to the wide receivers. Of course, Marlon Williams is back after his injury. And, of course, he was a crucial part of the 2022 championship and went out early with that Achilles injury. And we know how big of a threat he is in the end zone, especially. So we really need to. I really want to see him break out this season. Hopefully, that injury doesn't linger on because the Achilles, I know for a fact because I've actually last fall had an Achilles injury myself. So it's actually a difficult injury to come back from. So it's good to see him actually out there. I've seen video of him out there running, doing drills and stuff. So it's actually good to see him out there at seems like full capacity. Myron Mitchell, we really didn't see much of the full impact of what he was capable of because of his foot injury last year. So I think he's got a lot of potential, and hopefully we'll see him come out of camp and show what he's got to offer. Of course, we got Deion Kane, who is he needs no introduction. He's a strong wide receiver. He's powerful, and he's got the speed because he actually wound up taking 2 kicks last year to the end zone. So it's good to see him back, and hopefully we'll see him come out of camp strong and hopefully on the roster. Victor Bolden, who is no stranger to kick returns, who actually wound up having a kick return back in 2022 versus the New Orleans Breakers. After a short stint in the NFL and around the different practice squads, he's back with the Stallions this year. So it's good to see him back. And hopefully we'll see him in at least in some capacity coming out of the camp this year. On to the newcomers. Gary Jennings, who was with the Battlehawks last year. I think he's a really strong receiver. And I really hope that we can see him work in camp. The Stallions and the UFL have been really good about bringing the media into the camp and actually showing the players actually doing drills, and it's really fun to see. So getting to see everybody out there and it's pretty cool. But thing with Gary Jennings, he was with him being with the Battlehawks last year. He's actually able to know like what the schemes were from the XFL side. So he'd be able to work not only with the team and all, but he can actually work with some of the staff to kind of work with some plays that might be able to compete with the XFL teams. Amari Rogers, kind of a dark horse on the squad. He's kind of, I know that in the NFL he wound up having a big impact in special teams for kick returns. So he actually had 626 career return yards in the NFL. So with 74 total returns. So I'm excited to see what kind of potential he's got for coming out of camp. Another dark horse is Benjamin Victor, because he had a brief stint in the NFL as well after being a big piece of the Ohio State Buckeyes. So not sure what he's gonna. Not familiar with his work, but hopefully we'll see something come out of it. Kevin Austin from Notre Dame had a brief stint with the Jags, but not sure. Again, dark horse in my opinion, because I didn't get to see too much of his professional career because he was, another practice squad. Chris Lacey is another one we really actually with 5 different NFL teams. So he actually got activated, I believe, twice with the Lions, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see if he's got something okay Oklahoma State alum has to offer. Last but not least, we have Alabama Crimson Tide alum Slade Bolden. We all know how big of an impact he made on the field with the Tide, so it's good to see him on board. Hopefully we can see something come out of it, because he had a short stint with the Panthers, but I'm glad to see him back in the state, and hopefully we can see him make a big impact in camp and make that final cut in the roster. One thing that I was surprised about with the roster release was the tight ends. They only had 2 on there, which was the Jay Sternberger, which, I mean, he needs like I said, he needs no introduction, but we all know how big of an impact he made last season with the championship team. So, and Spa. So, we'll see. You got to think that both of those guys are going to make the final cut, because you got to have 2 tight ends at least on that final roster. So overall, I think we've got a really, really, really team. It's going to be, Coach Holtz has said over and over and over, it's like drinking from a fire hose. So it's kind of crazy how much talent is in this pool right now. And I'm glad it's not my job to make those cuts, because this weekend on Saturday, they've got to make cuts. I think it's 50-something players that they've got to cut down to. So, and it's going to be crazy to see who all is going to be making that cut. But we will, as soon as those cuts are made, we will let you know as soon as we get word from the UFL and the Birmingham Stallions. Additionally, Coach Holtz held a press conference on Wednesday. Coach discussed a little bit about the onboarding process, how it's a 3-day process where they went over HR, physicals, and conditioning tests with the players, and held meetings to go over what the objectives were for the team. So, and Holtz in his meeting was very blunt. The goal is to win. So they've won twice, but we've got this a new league with a bunch of new talent. So he's expecting these guys to come in and win. So he's not going to hold anything back. He also discussed the retention. They went from they actually had 30 players from the 2023 roster. So it's good to see all those guys back and the 45 new faces. And we discussed some of the newer guys. We didn't go into detail about the defense and all of that, but it's a big crew. So he says everyone's working together as a cohesive unit, and it's to see and hear that everybody's working together as a team already. And then he did discuss a cut to I think 58 on Saturday, and he said it's going to be kind of a bittersweet moment because it's going to be a difficult decision to make, and because of how strong the talent is. Because not only did we bring in a lot of people from the other um, dissolved teams from the two leagues, we also brought in a lot of people from the NFL that were just sitting on practice squads or maybe just sitting on the bench. They want. I know that was a big thing for AJ McCarron. He said last year when he made the decision to go to the Battlehawks, he wanted his boys to see him play. So that was a big impact for him on that. So these want to play and they see the backing of the and stability of the league. So I'm real excited to see all these players coming in. Coach Holtz also discussed injuries during that press conference, where he talked about Jamar Smith not seeing any issues with that hand. I've seen videos of him throwing, and he's dime. So it's he did discuss Marlon Williams' injury. He about how it is a tough injury to come back from, but he said that he can't tell that there was anything there. So it's good to see that coaches actually giving the good sign on that. However, he did mention that Bo is kind of struggling a little bit through his knee because he wound up having multiple surgeries on that knee. I know he was on the sidelines on a cart scooter last season. He was out there, pumping up the guys, trying to get up, So it was. We'll see how hopefully he makes it out of camp because I hope that knee injury just didn't linger on too long. Lastly, he did discuss about the fans. He discussed that we need the fans in the stands because we're only one of 8 markets that actually got a team, and we show the love of the team and the sport. Alabama is one of the biggest states for football, period. We've had multiple chances of having a football team, and we know that the still there about spring football. But this league has got the backing, I think, to go on for a long run. And he talked about that as well. So he said that DC and St. Louis have set the standard, and we need to sit there and prove them all wrong. They're sitting here saying that we don't deserve a team because we don't have fans out there in the bleachers watching the game. We need to prove them wrong. So make sure you guys go out there, buy your tickets, get with Corey Helvey, and make sure that y'all get your tickets, man, for real, because we need the fans to cheer on our Stallions. Lastly, he did dive into the adaptation to the new rules. He said that the rules make the game. So he really didn't have too much as far as, because in the USFL we did keep the USFL kickoff. We did keep the 4th and 12, and so there's not too much difference. although there is the hardest thing to get ready for was the conversions after touchdown, because after Brandon Aubrey having the historic season that he did, now we're going to where you got to have 1, 2, 3 point conversions after your touchdown. It's not just a kick anymore. So he did discuss that, mentally you got to get in your head that it's no longer just a chip shot kick after the touchdown. So yeah, you scored a touchdown. You scored 6 points. That's all you're guaranteed to get. So you've got to, if you're down 12 points, it's no longer just uh, two touchdowns. It's 12 points. So uh, make sure that's going to be the hardest thing for him to, you know, get ready for. He did close with the defining the Stallions to an XFL fan base. So he said for him, offensively, he could define the Stallions as being high paced and high scoring. He said that he wants to, because last year we were one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. So, and he said defensively, he wanted to be known as dominant and in control of the game at all times. So, and that's of course any coach's dream would be to have discipline. Was his last point. So, um, there's no promises though, because this is not the same team we won championship with in 2022. This is not the same team we won a championship with in 2023. This is a whole new league, whole new team. So we've got new faces on the team and new faces to go against. So it's kind of crazy to see how fast pace this camp has gone so far. So we're seeing a lot of. I'm really proud of the UFL and the Stallions organization for actually being so strong on social media with sharing everything as far as how we saw players in pads this past weekend. It was exciting to see. It's getting everybody in the mood and getting pumped up for the season coming up in less than a month. So the hearing all kinds of rumors, but make sure you stay tuned and hit that notification. Make sure they're turned on, so that we can get you the latest information. Because we're not going to share any information until we get it straight from the Stallions organization or the UFL officially. So make sure you guys stay tuned, and I'll see everybody next week. Good night.